Greetings and welcome, guys, gals, and non binary pals, to episode 297 of the Words About Games podcast, the weekly news, culture, and gaming podcast for Words About Games. I'm your host, Amy K. Alexander, and I'm joined this week by Daffyd Mark Moody, who's looking up the name of Quicksilver.
That's it! Thank you!
I knew as soon as you said it, I just thought it was funny because of the point I was trying to make, and you couldn't remember his name.
Nope, I could not. But before we get into anything, Amy, let's just have the greatest song ever. Na 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 na. Hey hey hey, Red Bull in the bin. Na 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 na. Everybody, na 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 na. Everybody, hey hey. Max in the bin. Boom boom boom. It may have been
Boring.
40 laps of boredom, but it was still at the end. It
Funny.
just pulled me back in.
Very, very funny.
Yeah, F1 is back. I'm so happy, even though the race was a bit
Shit.
dull. Let's just be frank, it was a bit dull until like the last 10 laps or so, because everyone was just like, oh my god, what's going on? They're all on fresh tyres. This is what should have happened in Abu Dhabi. Damn, Michael Massey.
Human error.
My ass. Yeah, no.
How you doing?
Happy. I'm not bad, yeah. Not bad at all. It was funny. It was funny watching it and texting you and watching it and then texting you. Waiting for you to see the text.
I wasn't seeing the text Moody. I'm behind you, remember?
I know.
I avoid your messages because I know you're ahead of me.
Oh, you avoid my messages. Yeah. Sounds a lot of people.
If I see your little face on my phone light up, I know something's happened. And if I wait a couple of minutes, I'll find out what it is.
10 messages like something seriously happened.
And then I check, and I'm like, oh, okay, yeah, I get it now. And then you sent me voice clips of singing, and I was like, I appreciate this. This is good.
She
We
approved.
like
That's
this.
all that
We like
matters.
this.
Yeah, but no, yeah, yeah. It's Monday, everybody. You know what that means.
I was wondering if you were going to get around to that.
We'll get there eventually, just like all men do. Eventually, we get there in the end. Mostly, kinda. Who knows? My partner hasn't left me yet, so. But we have also agreed that we both have settled already, so we're just like, we're good.
You're one of the good ones.
But no, yeah, not bad at all. How are you?
I'm good. Like the last week was better than the week before, so I'll take that. Like, you know, like, the week before was just bad for no particular reason. I was talking to a bunch of people that week who were all saying the same thing. Like, mental health is just bad.
Took a beating.
Like, there was so many people, and then last week was better. I went out. I went to go and see churches. That was amazing. Missed live music a lot. I just DOSed. Finished Elden Ring.
You did.
Tried to fill the void in my life with Tunic.
I finished Tunic and reviewed it. You've got the
You do,
clips, so
and I'm
we're
glad
just
you
waiting for
reviewed it.
to
I
put
haven't
up.
listened to it yet, but I'm glad you reviewed it because it means I don't have to keep playing it. So we're all good.
Oh, that's unfair. Elden Ring has broken you, hasn't it?
No. Because I'm playing Triangle Strategy, and I'm like, this is great. I'm having fun.
Octopath.
I keep calling it because it's Octopath Traveler. I just keep calling it Octopath Traveler. I did it like 3 times last week.
Yeah.
No, it hasn't broken me. Not at all. I just don't like Tunic.
It's not clicking for you, isn't it?
No.
Oh, that's a shame.
But it's fine. That's
I'm
what happens.
fascinated to see what you think I feel about it.
Stick and move. I think your opinion is completely valid no matter what it is.
And your opinion is completely valid, whatever it means either.
Like, you know, you think what you think about Tunic, and that's what you think, and that's how this all works.
It's how it's meant to work anyway. See, this is a good relationship when we talk about games. She says she doesn't like something, I'm not going to kill her for it if I like it.
How dare you?
If I hit say I don't like something, she ain't going to kill me. Well, I don't know, like, she might just stab me a lot in Among Us to get out of vengeance on me. But
Depends how many times you tell me You don't like
Yeah, that's
something.
true. No, that's true. Like, yeah, I can be irritating when I want to get my point across.
Yes, when you want to get your point across, and only
Yes.
then.
Yes.
But it's good. It's good. We're on the upward trend, I think. For me,
Yeah, I
personally.
hope so. Yeah. It's been one of those, like, say, a couple of weeks on it. So hopefully we are going to get something. All I can see right now is on my, because I've got a separate Discord for college and everything like that. All my college classroom are all dropping like flies with catching COVID right now.
Great.
I was like, oh, you poor bastards. I'm so glad I work from home.
Yeah. I was just about to say, oh yeah, it's been a bad couple of weeks, and I was just going to say for no discernible reason, and then I stopped myself in my head, and I was like, what do you mean for no discernible reason?
I know.
War in Eastern Europe,
always...
COVID, Conservatives, Boris Johnson, Max Verstappen, there's tons of reasons to feel bad about everything. And sometimes you just got to give yourself permission to feel the feelings that you feel.
Sometimes you just gotta cry.
Sometimes
you just gotta let it all out and just have to have a good old cry.
Or scream into a pillow.
Or scream.
I did that this week. And not for fun reasons.
I can understand that.
Yeah.
I just wallowed in self-pity.
Self-pity is good. It's a good move. We like that move.
But yes. We have the strangest banter sometimes.
I like it. It's good.
Yeah.
It's somewhere between wholesome and self-care and ridiculous and nonsensical. And people dig it. So fuck it. Just do it.
Fuck it.
Fuck it.
But I've had my Bulbasaur looking after me. And Umbreon's been
That's
there
good.
as well.
I've got a Buzzy in my little heart cushion.
You have.
And
yeah.
Tara.
I won't lie.
I want to point it out because what you said, once you see it, you can't unsee it. So I'm pointing at it so everybody who's watching the video podcast can see it and not unsee it.
I won't lie, I was very tempted thinking, I could just drive to a Smith's and buy my own Bugsy because I could use some healthcare right now. Because there was one I liked there, wasn't there, if I remember rightly? You liked Bugsy, there was a one that I was thinking, I like the look of that. And I had to make a choice.
There was a few, yeah. There was Buzzy, there was a Ladybird one, there was an Owl one.
Yeah.
But no, I almost went to Smith's. I was meeting people in town, and I needed to go to town for stuff anyway. So we just turned it into a stuff plus things like Totoro, excursion, and I was on the day I was we could just go to Smith's.
Yeah.
Because that place is heaven. It's exactly what I need.
Until Toys R Us returns and then Smith's dies.
And then we can have both. We can walk into one, wander around it, come out, and then be like, "There's a whole other one we can wander around now too."
Well, there's enough buildings with the name of Toys R Us out in the UK. They just need to get the keys and go back in, clean it up a little bit, and de-dust it. But yeah,
put some stuff in the shops. To buy.
Phasmophobia has been fun this week for us.
Oh god.
Last night was
oh my god,
pretty thirsty, wasn't it?
I don't know what you're talking about.
Twitch.tv/words about games.
Why would you say something like that? I don't understand why everybody was talking about how thirsty Faz was last night. I don't get it. I don't even know what happened. I don't even know how that switch got flicked in my brain. And I just went, yeah, okay. Words about games after talk. That's what I said.
You did.
Here we are.
I had it down as gotta scare them all. I need to change that to something different.
Fuck them all.
Gonna flirt with them all.
I don't know. I think even the ghosts were feeling a bit uncomfortable.
Well, what's one funny part when you literally said, "Fucking pick up that fork and stab me in the eye"?
That was before the thirst.
Later, you died.
I died. Yeah, that was before the thirst. That was when I was just channeling. I don't know what kind of energy I was channeling, and I just said, "Listen, right? I don't think you're here, but if you want to prove it, you can pick up that plate and jam it in my eye socket," and then more or less picked up the plate and jammed it in my eye socket.
Yeah, and threw your head for a walk. It was a good one.
The other one, the other amazing coincidence. I'd love it if this ghost picked me up, held me in its strong arms.
Yep.
Yeah. And not even the worst of it.
Wasn't.
Nope.
It really wasn't.
It wasn't. It's probably for the best that you. It's probably for the best that you are on the stream and not me. Can you imagine that content? Next time, I'm gonna carry it forward. I'm taking this energy to the group Phasmophobia games when there's more than just me and you.
Sweet. Wait until Sugar Daddy's back.
Wait until Faz Daddy's back.
Yep.
And he's just like, "What the fuck are you doing, Amy?" No, I don't know. I really don't know. Somebody help me. It's a cry for help, really.
It was a cry for help.
Speaking of a cry for help, shall we let's get on with the podcast, because this is the Words About Games podcast. You can get the video podcast every Monday on youtube.com/wordsaboutgamesuk, or the audio version on a variety of platforms, including Anchor, Spotify, Google Podcasts, Apple Podcasts, and a few that we haven't never heard of before in our entire lives. I haven't even put them in the show notes, because then the joke wouldn't work.
It wouldn't.
There's timestamps.
My hands up.
Nice. There's time. How? It's been like the nicest day of the year so far, and you're sitting and it's really fucking midwinter.
Right this is a cup of tea.
And I love the juxtaposition of you. You've got your door closed, your heating on, your tea, you got your hoodie. I'm sitting here sipping on a fucking orange juice with my tits half out. It's pretty warm in here.
You're looking quite dapper.
I thank you. I'll take dapper. I'll take anything I can get. As you found out last night when we were playing Phasmophobia. There are timestamps in the descriptions wherever you get this podcast, so you can watch the podcast in any order you want. You can watch it backwards if you really want to. We don't mind. We're just happy that you're here. And if you want to hang out, we play some games and try to bang some ghosts, you can head over to twitch.tv/wordsaboutgames.
Oh,
and do that.
We didn't play Fall Guys.
You know what? I feel like I'm just reorienting my entire brand at this point.
Oh God, what's going to happen when we actually play Mario Kart?
Never mind Mario Kart. What's going to happen? I think I should play Mass Effect. Could you imagine?
Yes.
Could you imagine?
Oh my God, yes.
Me
you have
being
to
like I'm in
bugger.
fucking heat playing Mass Effect.
Oh, but you won't get your date until the third game, so you'll be waiting.
That doesn't mean
forever.
I can't objectify all of the very pretty people in Mass Effect with 1 and 2.
True, yeah, that's true.
And will.
And will. Love it.
I don't know.
Because I've got the Dragon Age Inquisition soundtrack on my YouTube now. I'm just like, oh, and I was listening to it while I was chopping up the veg for Sunday lunch, and I was like, oh, this is such a good game. No, I can't go back. I've got games to play.
I changed.
No, I can't. Don't do this.
No,
to
I
me.
know. Someone wrote an article and shared it on Twitter about Dragon Age Origins, and I was just like, I don't really want to play that again.
Yeah.
But no, I'm not going to. But no, I blame it on. I blame it on there's a change in my HRT that I made, the way I take it, and I feel like it's just fucking set me up a height in a good way, apparently. Hey, what are you gonna do?
We need to find you a girl. We need to find you a lady.
Fast.
Fast, very fast. It looks like it.
I don't know if many women that I would like to see are going to click on this podcast, given the headline of it. I feel like we're more likely to attract TERFs than nice women.
So put on at the no, I'm not going to finish that sentence. I'm not going to finish that sentence. Ready? No.
But it's
not
fine.
On the podcast, then at least.
I'm quite liking this outfit and makeup combo, so I think I'm just going to do some Instagram stuff after this. That'll make me feel better. But anyway, shall we get into it?
Before we start, I'll send you a virtual hug.
Oh, it's fine. I'm fine. I feel like
it's about a franchise which
I feel like I
Gone
feel.
down the shitter.
I mean, it was always in the shitter. I feel like you think I'm coming at this with like a sad energy, but like I'm coming at this with like the fury of 1,000 exploding suns. Is that a kung fu move? I feel like that was in a kung fu movie.
Fury of 1,000 Suns.
I'm gonna Google it.
Yeah. Is it Kung Fu Panda?
The fury of 1,000 suns. Well,
Oh god. What is it?
It's fine, don't worry about it.
Oh.
It's not where I got it from, but it was the first result that came up. So let's talk about Hogwarts Legacy. You know, that topic everybody loves to hear from me about how the game you want to play is harmful to people like me. Like, I love being like the fun police. But I did a thing because I've said stuff on podcasts multiple times before, and I'm sure I will again right after I do this. But I borrowed other people's words this time. Because like a bunch of people wrote a bunch of cool articles and they're cool people. The articles will all be linked in the description. I haven't pulled the entirety of all of these articles because otherwise that would be the entire podcast and Mooney would just be sitting there as I read for 2 hours. We're not doing that. And so go click those articles. They're cool. Anyway, the first article is from Jesse Earl over at GameSpot, who wrote a bunch of words, including, at a glance, the Harry Potter series would appear to be in a healthy place. The lucrative Wizarding World franchise has a third Fantastic Beasts film coming, a TBS game show, an ongoing Broadway play, 2 theme parks, a potential live-action streaming series, and, most notably to gamers, a highly anticipated return to the AAA gaming world with Avalanche Software's Hogwarts Legacy. However, the franchise has sadly remained in the ever-present shadow of a larger conversation. Creator J.K. Rowling. I thought one like I'm hallucinating. I thought like a warning popped up on my other monitor and just nothing. Oh no. Creator J.K. Rowling's public.
You said a name and it came back to bite you in the ass.
It just appears behind me. Oh.
Yeah.
I wouldn't be surprised at this point. Creator J.K. Rowling's public support of anti-transgender rhetoric, as well as her support for the people and groups that spread it, all expressed on social media, her website, and in her activism. This has not been an isolated incident, but a continued stance for Rowling dating all the way back to 2018 and continuing into March 2022 at the time of writing, when she tweeted out misinformation around an upcoming vote in Scotland on gender identification issues, among numerous other tweets targeted at trans people. While the conversation around trans issues may not directly affect most outside of the trans community, Rowling doubling down on trans issues has forced the topic to the forefront of many people's minds when it comes to the ongoing Harry Potter franchise. It has required many of us to think about whether we can still support the Harry Potter franchise in light of Rowling's discriminatory words and actions. What does supporting Rowling even mean? It cannot be ignored that J.K. Rowling has placed herself at the head of this active hate and discriminatory movement to the point that her name has become synonymous with anti-trans hate. Gender-critical groups have paid for, quote, I heart J.K. Rowling, end quote, ads to be displayed in Canada, used to dog whistle support for anti-trans movements and to make trans people feel uncomfortable in public spaces nearby. One of the people who put the signs up was unsurprisingly arrested for being antagonistic towards trans people and attempting to punch someone. I've seen numerous comments on my work for GameSpot and elsewhere be targeted by transphobes with statements of, quote, I stand with J.K. Rowling, end quote, alongside active misgendering, transphobic language and hate directed at me and trans people in general, all used to give plausible deniability that they were, quote, just standing up for an author, end quote, or, quote, defending the rights of women, end quote, apparently ignoring the irony that they were actively attacking a writer and a woman in the process. This occurs to many public-facing trans women. All of this, and then there's like a bunch of information before this paragraph. All of this finally brings us back to the Harry Potter franchise and Hogwarts Legacy. Rowling is not directly involved in the game, and although WB Interactive's president failed to condemn Rowling's words, the developers inside the company have worked to let you create a transgender character in the game. However, it's still difficult for any trans person to look at any element of the Harry Potter franchise and not see the harm that continues to be perpetuated by the woman who created it. I, and this is the author of the article, used to adore listening to Harry Potter audiobooks as comfort, but now I can't turn them on without being reminded of a woman who has actively argued against the reality of my existence and championed harm towards my community. So that was number one. We've got another one up here from Imran Khan over at Fanbyte. Legend. The legend that is Imran Khan.
He is a legend. It was funny. I saw him trending on my side of Twitter, and so I clicked on it. I was like, oh, he must have said something witty. And every night I was like, oh, that's not Imran. Nope.
Really? Okay.
Do not want to see that. It was something about a war. What's happening right now? So I'm just going to say that.
Interesting. Oh, this isn't about video games at all.
No, it was not. So I was like, hey, I'm out.
This is from Imran Khan's article on Fanbyte titled Everything from Today's Hogwarts Legacy State of Play, which is just a base title. I'll be straight with you. This is not a recap of Hogwarts Legacy, WB Games' latest attempt at applying their portkey initiative to making more Wizarding World games. After much discussion, neither I nor the rest of the Fanbyte staff particularly want to engage with the game's marketing. We realise that's a decision people and teams should make individually and also affects more than just the genuinely vile J.K. Rowling, but we're at least staying out of the pre-release hype cycle for the game. We don't believe this is taking sides in a debate. There is no debate here. Rowling's feelings, statements, and public campaigning are repugnant and morally wrong. There aren't sides in whether trans human beings deserve equal protection and rights and whether trans children need to be protected. Separating art from the artist isn't a virtue or something to brag about. It just speaks to your ability to close your eyes and ignore the actual real-world harm a living, benefiting person receives from your silence and compliance. Rowling may not be on the active development team for the game, but she continues to benefit from the existence of the IP and its profits in tangible, noticeable ways. That may never actually stop, but we don't have to do our part in feeding it. And then the last one, from Eric Switzer over at The Gamer, who wrote a bunch of stuff, including a few paragraphs I borrowed, because, sometimes it's nice to find words that it's nice to find people put things into words that you want to put into words, but you can't because you're screaming into a pillow.
That is completely fair.
Which, to be fair, I could have just done for the first 20 minutes of this podcast. And I feel like everybody would have been like, yeah, I get it.
Okay.
Now that Rowling has become the figurehead of a hate group, we can't just buy a Harry Potter game without grappling with the social and ethical ramifications of supporting her media empire. Some have called for a boycott of Hogwarts Legacy and Harry Potter, while others remain committed to the franchise, believing that nuances of business will allow them to enjoy the Wizarding World while keeping their hands clean. This isn't the only boycott conversation the gaming community has had in recent memory. A similar debate spawned out of the Activision Blizzard lawsuit and provoked many to call for a boycott of Diablo 2 Resurrected. The arguments made then were largely the same as the arguments being made now. We'll undoubtedly have the exact same conversation again when Hogwarts Legacy, Overwatch 2 and Diablo 4 come out too. The discourse is circular and unending, but I, the author of the article, arrived at a position that has the power to free us all from spending the rest of our lives fighting the same social media battle every time a company or person in games does something to compromise the ethics of their work. Here it is. Boycotts don't work, but you still have a moral imperative to oppose harm when you see it. Just because a boycott is out of the question doesn't mean we have to be nihilistic about our purchasing decisions. A boycott is a protest. It's meant to elicit a response from the person or business you're boycotting. But Rowling isn't going to change her mind, and Warner Brothers isn't going to cancel the game. There's nothing we can do in this situation but oppose harm when we see it. If you believe that J.K. Rowling's behaviour and words are harming trans people, then you should not buy the Harry Potter game. I want to take a second to address those that believe Rowling is a danger to trans lives but think they can still rationalise buying Hogwarts Legacy. There's a few common arguments I've seen, many of which could be applied to the Activision Blizzard situation as well, and I don't think they stand up to scrutiny. It doesn't matter that Rowling didn't work on the game or that the studio has feebly distanced itself from her politics. Rowling's strength as a media figure comes from her being the creator of Harry Potter. As long as the Harry Potter IP thrives, Rowling will continue to be a powerful and influential person in the world. It wouldn't matter if she didn't make a dime from Hogwarts Legacy directly. Propping up the Harry Potter props up Rowling, and it always will. You also can't defend the game by claiming you want... Let me try that sentence again. You also can't defend buying the game by claiming you want to show your support for the developers. There are many people that work at Avalanche Software that oppose Rowling's view, and it's tragic that they likely worked on this game for years before Rowling exposed her beliefs. I sympathise with them, but to say you intend to buy the game to support those developers is disingenuous. Were that the case, you would have bought every game ever made in order to support the developers that made them. As our own Stacey Henley points out in a recent piece on the subject, quote, if you're supporting them specifically because they're working on Harry Potter, then you're not supporting them. You're doing this thing called buying a video game, end quote. You're not punishing the developers of Rowling's behaviour. You're not punishing the developers for Rowling's behaviour if you don't buy the game. Developers aren't paid based on sales, and bonuses based on performance have largely gone out of fashion. Even when that happened, it was typically in relation to review scores, not sales numbers. If you're worried about people getting laid off, if the game isn't successful enough, remember that that's something that happens to most studios all the time after a game launches, regardless of how many copies were sold. These developers need unions, not more sales. You can't possibly do the right thing all of the time, but you can do this. Don't buy Hogwarts Legacy if you care about the rights of trans people. It almost certainly won't change anything, but it's the right things to do, and sometimes that's all we can do. There's lots more in all three of those articles. They're all linked in the description of wherever you are watching or listening to this podcast. I especially recommend the GameSpot one by Jesse Earl. Totally didn't forget the name. Just scroll up. It just like lays out everything all at once. And for me, it's like, I've heard people say like, wow, it's a really harrowing read. And for me, it's just been my life for the last 4 years. So I was just like, it's just a recap. It's like, previously on Harry Potter transphobe. I don't know what the TV show would be called, but
yeah. Yeah, the GameSpot article's kind of very illuminating, just in like, for me, part of like what she says at the end is like, she used to listen to the Harry Potter books or read them or audiobook them. So did I. I've admitted on many occasions, I loved Harry Potter. I grew up on it. I thought it was an amazing book series and thought it was very well done, and I connected to a lot of the characters. I'll say this to J.K. Rowling, I bet there was a lot of trans people who connected to a lot of your characters, you fucking idiot of a person. But I digress. At the end of the day, we all know the IP is an incredible, can be just alone can be incredibly powerful. We've seen it with Call of Duty on many occasions, even when the games have quote unquote, a lot of people say suck, they're the best selling games every single year.
Yeah, like you're on someone's streaming their Twitch page and they're like, man, this year's FIFA is fucking terrible while they're playing this year's FIFA.
Yeah.
It's like, all right then.
Makes
Okay.
no sense. Yeah, it's like an IP power. Like we've seen it when it comes to like touch subject, and even for me and myself, when I say this name, in Disney, like they are going to be the top tier when it comes to leveraging an IP power. They've done it for years. They've been incredibly successful with that. There's no doubt about that. There's universes, studios around the world have tried to replicate the MCU many times, and all have failed.
I'm glad they're starting to stop that now.
Yeah, sounds like it. But no, I've said on multiple occasions, I will not be buying this game, and I won't even be renting this game whatsoever. I just can't, in just good conscience, not just because like I know Amy and she's one of my best friends in the world, and I know and everything like that. It's literally just I do not agree with this person, and she is sadly ripping an IP apart that I love apart and making it so uncomfortable for me to even want to read the books. I don't even read the book anymore or listen to the audibles. I'm very tempted to delete them, but I'm just like, I spent money on those fuckers. At the same time, I'm just like, I can't get my money back. What annoys me even more.
Continue talking.
Yeah, no worries. The thing is that like we've said on many occasions, like people like say, I want to support the developers. Like one of the articles says, yeah, it's like you're not supporting them. They're already paid.
Yeah, I mean,
They don't not get paid for 3 years or 4 years of a
it's like
development
they work for free
cycle
until the fucking game gets sold, and then they get like 0.5% of the sales or some bollocks like that. How does that work?
Yeah, it's just it's unfeasible. Like what one of the articles literally says, I don't know, I think it's the last one, says they need, like we've said on multiple cases, especially with what happened with Ubisoft and especially Activision last year, video game developers need to unionize to help protect them more, because at the end of the day, I'll say this right now, we know what's going to happen. Some people from this studio are sadly going to get sacked or made redundant to bring in a fresh slot of talent. It happens all the time. It really does. And I know people don't want to hear that. Yeah, people don't want to hear that, but it does. And it's not because the game sold badly or sold greatly or anything like that. They just want to bring in a fresh bunch of talent. And everything like that. And it's disgusting that they do this. That's why, again, they need to unionize. The thing, like I've said, the worst thing is about it, I've seen the trailer for the latest Fantastic Beasts. It's a fucking good trailer, and that's what pisses me off even more, Amy. I'm like, Jesus, this woman, why have you just decided to turn into... No, let's not say that. Why have you decided to show your true colors? Why have you decided literally to become freaking the thing that was the villain of your book series, Voldemort? Why have you decided to literally become a hateful, spineless little snake? I hate seeing it, and it's just disgusting to see all these things when you see it. And these articles are amazing. Like, shout out to like all of them, but I loved Imran Khan's tweet when the whole reveal came after the state of play. I thought that was amazing. But yeah, it's like, I don't know. What are you thinking, Amy? I can only imagine what you're thinking. Why am I even saying that? We're asking that question. But
what am I thinking? Where do I stop? How much time do we have? No.
2 hours.
Yeah. No, we don't anymore. Like, an hour and a half. Yeah. But like, no, like, I mean, I'm all over the shop when I think about stuff like this, because it goes, obviously for me, it goes beyond just video games. Like, because it's like my entire life. Like, a huge part of my life is this thing that, like, J.K. Rowling hates me for. I don't know why. Like, I mean, I do know why. Like, she tries to explain, I've read her fucking manifesto, and I've seen all the things she writes on Twitter and says and does, and the people that she decides to associate with. Like, so unfortunately, like, it does make sense to me. But, like, that's why I'm all over the place on this subject. Like, that's why when, like, people, like, link me, like, oh, look, Harry Potter, and, like, Hogwarts Legacy, and I'm just like, I got nothing for you. I'm sorry. I just don't. Cool. You want to continue to like that game? I mean, Steph Sterling said it quite well last week before the state of play happened, where it's just like the game all you want, and if you're going to buy it, you're going to buy it, but it means I'm going to trust you less. Like, because 4 years ago, you could kind of get away with, oh shit, I didn't know that. But like, I don't know that, like, this is everywhere. Like, this what J.K. Rowling has done over the past few years is literally in, like, mainstream media in this country. Like, it's part of a whole push in the mainstream media. And yeah, I don't think you can escape it. So when I look at that and, like, why do you want to talk to me about it? Like, do you want me to absolve you of, like, liking the Hogwarts Legacy game? Because you know I'm not going to do that. Like... Yeah. I think Eric in the final article we talked about summed up like my feelings on the subject quite well, where I've kind of tiptoed around sort of being like, you know what, like you know my philosophy on most things is like what you like, I don't care, like, but like I've kind of tiptoed around the Hogwarts thing because, like, yeah, you know what, it fucking sucks if you prioritize playing a fucking video game over, like, you know, standing up for someone who, like, it's not like she just tweets some mean things and then people's feelings get hurt. Like, this is, like, causing active harm to like, trans people and the trans community. Not just even in the UK. We saw one of the bills, of the many bills that have been proposed over the past few years in America. And one of the people who was speaking in support of it used the J.K. Rowling's words to help try and get that bill passed. Like the things that she says and does, because of how much power and influence she has a direct effect on so many people's safety and rights around the world. And if you're saying you prioritize Harry Potter over that, I don't know how comfortable I can possibly feel around you.
Yeah.
Like, I need rights. Fair. You don't need to play a video game.
That's true.
I would like to pee in peace. Like, that's where the bar's at. That's like, true. That's where we're at right now. Like,
the bar ain't high. That's the thing about it. You're not asking for much.
I want to go out without having stones thrown at me, without being spat at, without being stared at, without being laughed at, without being talked about behind my back, and just being able to not feel terror every time I want to go to the toilet.
Yeah.
That's where I'm at. Also, it would be nice to not wake up every day and find out there's a new news article in, like, the Times or something. Like, that'd be cool too. But, you know, we'll take baby steps first.
I think the thing what's happening, and this is not just about, like, the trans rights or anything like that. I think it's just about, like, especially what's happening in America, like what I brought up with Disney and everything, what's happening with that fucking shit fire as well. Thank you very much, Bob Chapek. I hate you right now. And social media in itself is just like, it's just showing even more and more and more how divided as a quote unquote society we really are when it comes to certain elements. Like, for me, it's like, I'll say what, like, basically Lewis Hamilton says: love is love. All people deserve every type of rights. Everyone, gay rights, trans lives, and everything. Everyone matters. Everyone matters. And they all deserve, every single individual deserves to have the same rights that I have, a pasty white dude. And to hear that where the people do not, just because of their sexuality or transition and everything, it's just like, it's disgusting to see that, or just because of their race. You know, it's the thing that's just terrible to see, and it's just like, and to see hearing people like J.K. Rowling and other bigoted idiots out there just flaunting their stuff around and thinking it's all right to say all this is just, it's disgusting and it's shameful at the same time. So
yeah. I think the thing that exhausts me the most is the, like, and I'm centering this back down to just talking about Hogwarts Legacy.
Yeah.
Like, I think the thing that exhausts me the most is like, well, we were playing fast. Like, I hope you don't mind me saying, you weren't having a great day. I suggested instead of doing a Pokemon review, we just play Faz. We just played Faz, and like, I needed that as well because the state of play was happening and I needed something to do. So we did that, and like, we were playing Faz. It was pretty boring. Like, the ghosts were pretty boring. The game wasn't. The ghosts were terrible that night. And like, I know we were both browsing Twitter, and and I can't remember how I think you just said, oh, well, like, you said the Imran thing. I went on. I said, oh, that's awesome. And then I just started unfollowing people, and I was like, you were like, oh, well, like, who are you unfollowing? And I was just like, I'm unfollowing people who are twisting themselves into fucking pretzels, trying to, like, justify buying a video game. Like, it's like, you know what? Like, you're making such a performative show of like, oh, well, you know, I really, like, don't like what J.K. Rowling's doing, but I really want to support those developers. And like, I feel like I've, not even in relation to Hogwarts Legacy, I feel like I've said this so many times, where it's just like, buying a video game does not support the developers of that video game. It doesn't. It supports the company that makes that video game. And in J.K. Rowling's case, it keeps her power in place because her power is directly tied to the popularity of Harry Potter. That's why she has so much power and influence in the world. It's like, yeah, sure. If no one bought, if 0 people bought Hogwarts Legacy and she made no money off of it, she'd still be a millionaire. The money's not the point. There are plenty of millionaires who have faded into obscurity because the thing that they're popular for or known for has faded into obscurity.
She's an influencer, that's all. Like, she's literally she's an influencer who's just able to tweet out something and people are going to say, I agree with that. And you're just like, well.
Yeah.
And you just go, oh, for God's sakes. Seriously, but the only thing I disagree with all the articles is that her lack of involvement. I'm not. I mean more in the story, and everything like that. Because at the end of the day, she's very protect. She owns the entire rights. Warner Brothers don't own anything. They've literally just licensed it to give she's been very quote unquote smart with how she's been able to control the entire IP and not make sure that it's getting done how she wants it to be done and everything. So like when it comes to involvement, I truly believe she's had more involvement than they're letting on, and they just don't want to say. Yes, she's developed the game and she hasn't been coding or anything like that, but she has. No doubt about it, she would have signed off on the story, and she would have and everything. So, for me, I do not believe that at all when they say she's not having much involvement or what's or had little or no involvement. I do not believe that.
Her level of involvement in the video game is really like not like I get why people try to I get why Warner Brothers try to push that whole thing of trying to sidestep it as much as they possibly could, because to them it's a PR controversy. She is synonymous with Harry Potter. It doesn't matter how much involvement she has or doesn't have in the video game. It's a Harry Potter video game, and J.K. Rowling has made herself. You can't say J.K. Rowling without thinking about Harry Potter, and you can't say Harry Potter without thinking about J.K. Rowling. The two are completely intertwined.
Yeah, this is how much the influence she has. This is for everybody who may not realize this. The first teaser trailer of Fantastic Beasts 3. Just rewatch that.
Yeah.
And just see. Her name's not really anywhere on that until when it gets to the credits parts of saying this is blah, 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 from these people, blah blah blah. When it came to the new one, her name is boom front and center. Big old names from the world of the transphobe, basically. And I can tell you that's why that's happened. She's had words with them. She's literally said, "This is my property. If you do not market it with my name on it, I will take it away from you," type of thing, or we're gonna have problems or something like that. That is guarantee that.
I'll take your word for that because I don't really understand the intricacies of film. As Mr. Barnes once said, "I know what I hate, and I don't hate this." That's as far as I go with my film critique.
That's fair.
I mean, I wouldn't be surprised if she did have a hand in the game. I've seen the fucking plot. I couldn't believe it when Keith was explaining the plot to me on Saturday.
Yeah, when we were talking about it.
Yeah. What's the ball? What's the Harry Potter game? Surely they're not going to go for something controversial given everything that's happening about the game. And then Keith was like, no, this is what it's about. It's about the fucking...
Check out the plot. Check out the plot for Fantastic Beasts.
I don't want to. The plot of Hogwarts Legacy was enough to make me need to go for a fucking nap. I can't believe that's what they went with. And for anybody who's listening who doesn't know, it's about you're a fifth year Hogwarts student, and it's the goblins, right? The hook-nosed runners of all of finance in the world who use the Star of David as their symbol in their banks, and who definitely aren't a caricature or a stand-in for any group in the real world, who are themselves in the fiction of Harry Potter definitely an oppressed minority, and they're having an uprising, and it's up to you to stop them. What the fuck did you do?
So you're literally playing a racist.
Yeah. You are literally playing a wizard who is going to put down an uprising from an oppressed minority. That's what you're going to do in the game.
Mm-hmm.
Congratulations. You somehow managed to make it worse.
Yeah. This is why I said that she has more involvement than
the only way they could make it worse is if the goblins also tries to free the house elves as part of their uprising, and you had to stop them from doing that. It's the only way it could be worse. And honestly, it would not surprise me if that happens, because they like being slaves. breaks my brain to think about Harry Potter.
No, yeah. Like this is the thing about it. Like years ago, you were just a person who's just like Harry Potter just doesn't work for me.
Well, I was fucking. I mean, when the fucking first book came out, I was like, what, 13 years old? Like, I didn't really have the critical thinking analysis skills to really think about what was happening in Harry Potter.
But that's it. But it wasn't a franchise that worked for you, especially when it came to film and everything like that. Now it's just like, oh, for God's sakes, type of thing. Where it is physically hurting you.
People, like,
you.
well, yeah, both. You're like, yeah. I mean, there's the stuff, the transphobia stuff, but it's like people explain to me like things that are in Harry Potter that I just don't remember because I wasn't paying that much attention to it when it was a big deal. Like the one that really blew my mind, besides the goblin thing and the house elves thing, was the guy whose name was Shacklebolt. When someone pointed out that the black character's name was Shacklebolt. And it's like, what? What? Like, I already knew about Cho Chang, which, was enough. But then it's like, there's a black character in the game, in the series, and his name is Shacklebolt. Like, I guess I've had the veil on that fact lifted from in front of my eyes for a long time, and I still can't process that information.
It's sadly a lot to process when it comes to the more and more people delve into it. I think the more and more people are realizing that there's a lot of problematic material in these books, and even though they're for children and everything like that, and it kind of just makes it even worse that they are for children.
They're for children, yeah. Like, yeah, it's. I don't necessarily think a lot of the. Like, even knowing J.K. Rowling and what she's like now, like, I don't necessarily think that a lot of the stuff that she put in her books was necessarily, like, on purpose. I just think that, and I'm, fuck it. I mean, all of the I Heart J.K. Rowling crowd have already fucking left the hate. Like, I just think that she's not a great writer at exploring the themes that she wants to explore. So you get a very surface level exploration of themes. Like, you think about Chamber of Secrets, Harry Potter and the Chamber of Secrets, and it's like, okay, there's a house elf called Dobby. He's a slave. He doesn't like being a slave. And then, like, a big part of that story subplot is, at the end, Harry frees Dobby from Captain Lorca. And it's like, that is a cool subplot. But then, like, what I don't think Rowling realized when she wrote that subplot is she's opened a can of worms where now Harry Potter is a universe where people now own slaves. And how do you deal with that? Because that's a big thing to deal with and grapple with. And those are big, heavy themes. And I don't think she was equipped to really deal with them because she tried to sidestep the issue by having, it's fine because, Hogwarts runs on slave labor. It's fine because they all like being slaves, so we can just keep the slaves. And the one character is who says no, maybe we should like end the slavery is treated as crazy for wanting to free slaves.
Yeah, this is think about it even more, ladies and gentlemen, everyone else. Harry Potter owned a slave.
He sure did. He became a cop at the end of that series.
Shit, yeah, he did.
Yeah. Anyway, I've said my piece. Like, at this point, like, I can't say anything new or more about Harry Potter, about Hogwarts Legacy, about how I feel about it in general, and about how I feel about people who want to continue to support it.
I think Steph Sterling said it right. If you want to play this game, fine. If you want to buy this game and enjoy this game, that's fine. More power to you. But I think it's fair to say that we will both not trust you less. We'll trust you less because of it. And it's just like, it is deplorable with what's happening. Like,
well, it becomes a case, to elaborate on Steph's tweet, it becomes a case of, like, how much are you willing to throw me under the bus so you can enjoy something? Like, where are we at here? You know what I mean? Like, J.K. Rowling writes another manifesto where she calls for the lynching of all trans women. Is that the line? Will that stop you? Or will that not stop you? And does it have to go further than that? J.K. Rowling actually, and these are all hypothetical, metaphorical situations. I'm just trying to judge what the hypothetical line is. J.K. Rowling actually calls for it in Parliament. Is that where the line is, or is it further? You see where I'm going. You see where I'm at with this. It's like, I don't know where your line is, but I know it's not at the point where a very successful, powerful woman is doing what she can to remove as many rights from me as possible. And that's a scary thing for me to consider when I'm like in your company. And I don't think that's unreasonable. Like, what else will you let slide so you can play a video game? Watch a book, watch a movie.
People let a lot of things slide.
Yeah.
They do. And I won't lie, I have probably done it myself.
We've all done it. Like, we've all done it. Like, knowingly or unknowingly. We've all let things slide that we probably shouldn't have. And but a key part of being a person, just in general, just in life, is growing and changing and adapting, right? Like, if we'd come to this podcast today, Hogwarts Legacy, let's talk about Hogwarts Legacy, and somehow you didn't know anything about this. About J.K. Rowling, about what she's done, about what she continues to do, about what she's trying to do. And then we talked it out. And then your response was, shit. Well, I'm going to need to rethink some things. That's growth. Like...
Yeah, no doubt about it. Yeah.
Like, we all grow and change. Hopefully, we all grow and change based on new information that we're presented with. I do it. You do it.
Yeah.
Nobody's perfect.
It's called learning.
Yeah. It's called just being a human being. Like, yeah. Like, just don't dig your heels in the sand and go, no, I will defend this at all costs. It's like, no, well, hold on. Let's have some nuance. Let's have some thought. Let's have some discussion. I've talked about this with people, and I feel like I've moved the needle on some people, and I haven't on others, and I talk to the people, the former group a lot more than I talk to the latter group. That's where I'm at. Just on a variety of topics. It's just like at a certain point, someone's either gonna grow and change or not. And someone I was talking to once, I was talking to them about the concept of misgendering. It was only actually a couple of weeks ago, and I was talking about it in a way of just like if I correct someone and they don't like it, they could react quite negatively. And I was talking about it in this very specific setting, and I said, and this could cause a problem in this specific setting. And the person said, well, isn't that a them problem? And I was like, you're absolutely right. And this is a person who tries but struggles to grasp a lot of things that I talk about, but tries, and he just came out with it completely unprompted. But isn't that a them problem? And I was like, you're absolutely right. That is a them problem.
It is.
But it's also everybody around us problem.
Yeah. And it can also be a scary problem at the same time if they don't take it the right way.
Yeah. So the opportunity for growth is there. I've seen some people completely surprise me with how they've taken everything that's going on with me, my entire transition. And I've seen some people completely surprise me in the opposite direction. And that is just life.
Yeah.
And I've said it to my counselor, and I've said it to people in my life, and I've said it to my journal, and I've said it to this cool self-care app I downloaded recently with a little bird that goes on adventures. I am very fortunate at this point in my life to where I was a few years ago, where I've surrounded myself with amazing people. Like, the problem, not the problem, one problem with this, the way all of this happens, like Hogwarts, J.K. Rowling, trans rights, the mainstream media, is that a lot of discussion about trans people's lives is centered around the pain and the misery and the fight, and being trans is fucking amazing. Genuinely, my life for the last 4 years has been fucking fantastic. like, I just like this. Like, I could fill the second half of this podcast talking about all the things that is awesome about my life. I'm not going to do that, but like, we can't talk about that stuff because the only time things come up is when fucking shit like this is going down. And I don't think I think that there should be more space for people to talk about the cool parts, the fun parts, and the amazing parts. But sadly, we're still here.
Never is, yeah. We don't ever hear the good things. Always hear the bad. And that is just the shit thing that is when it comes to this whole situation.
Sure is. Moody, it's half time.
It's half time. It's half time, ladies and gentlemen, and everyone else. So it's time to get into the indie game of the week. Stray Gods, the role-playing music.
I knew what I was doing. I knew what I was doing this week.
All right, let's see if I can get through this. In a modern fantasy world where the Greek gods live hidden among us, Grace is granted the power of a muse to draw others into musical numbers. Power that she'll need to find out the truth behind her predecessor's death before time runs out. Unravel the mystery of the last muse throughout your choices is in a beautifully hand-illustrated role-playing musical. From the mind of David Geyer, lead writer and creator of the Dragon Age. Oh my mother of God!
Oh yeah, wait, keep reading. It gets better.
Dragon Age setting in one of the most celebrated scripts in games comes Stray Gods, a song-filled urban fantasy saga where your choices determine how fates guide you. Strong arm, charm, or negotiate your way through a world of branching songs. Play through original interactive musical numbers composed by Grammy nominee musician Austin Wintroy, Scott Iger, and Stephen Gates and Simon Hall of Tripod. Never heard of him. And Jesse CEO, where your choices change the songs and the outcomes. Stray Dogs is an innovative and heartfelt can you say that one?
Reconception.
Reconception, thank you. Of Greek mythology, combined in what we love about contemporary musical theatre. Think Buffy once more with feeling Hades Town and Wicked. Fuck is this game with video games where characters and story take center stage? Think Dream Daddy, Life is Strange. Okay, we got me now. Dragon Age, you got me again. Never heard of Dream Daddy, I won't lie. David Geyer's vision is brought to life with performances by the likes of Laura Bailey. From Last of Us Part 2 and the World of Warcraft.
Some kind of like that sounds like some kind of Tomb Raider spinoff.
The World of Warcraft. Mary Elizabeth McGillen, Silent Hill 2, Steven Universe and Resident Evil, and additional cast members from across video games, television, and Broadway to be revealed soon. Developed by Summerfall Games and published by Humble Games. Coming to PC via Steam, and more information is due later in 2022. This is a batshit crazy game, Amy.
It's a musical, but it's a role-playing game. Written by the creator of Dragon Age, starring Laura Bailey.
That just sounds amazing in itself.
Its influences include Life is Strange, Dragon Age.
I think a character's going to be muscly and people are going to get pissed off again.
Maybe. I think people are going to
I'll be all there for that.
I'll be like, but this game's amazing. It sounds amazing.
Oh, hello. Oh, this art style is... Oh, this art style, huh?
There's a link in the description for everybody watching and listening to this podcast. I highly recommend you check it out. Go out to your Steam wishlist.
Hello, abs. I mean, blonde-haired abs. Towers. That's clearly Laura Bailey's character, and it looks like a Laura Bailey character she would play. Oh, this looks amazing. Add to your wish list. Thank you very much, Moody. Boom. I have 30 games in my wish list.
I know. I saw you added last week's Indie Game of the Week as well.
Did I?
I think so. You've added one recently.
I don't know. I had a few things. I deleted Tunic because I was like, it's in Game Pass. I'm good.
I have this. Yeah, I don't need it. I've got
I
it.
don't
It's
need this.
fine.
I
It's
don't
in
need
Game
this.
Pass. Yeah, man. Stray Gods, the role-playing musical. I mean, I said when Get Out of Hell came out, saying the Saints Row spin-off, that we need more video game musicals.
Yeah.
And the gods
She
provide.
does have a voice, Laura Bailey.
does
Like
have a voice.
She has a voice. I have to check out that Critical Role. Not the game themselves, but they've done haven't they done an animated series?
Yeah, the animated series.
Yeah, apparently it's pretty good.
Yeah, I mean, I'll get around to it. Like most things, it's on a pile somewhere. Like, oh yeah, it's coming. Like, I'll get to it eventually. Like, shall we continue with part 2 of the podcast?
Yes.
Part 1 was a bit more focused on one thing than I thought it was going to be. So we're gonna be very flexible with the news stories that we cover for the rest of this podcast. But I want to start with something that actually prompted a conversation between us in Discord, where I stopped the thing and went, well, this seems like we should be talking about this on the podcast. And that is Microsoft's Perfect Dark Studio has lost numerous key staff over the past year. This is from Tom Phillips over at Eurogamer. He writes, the initiative, Microsoft's new game studio set up to reboot Perfect Dark, has seen an exodus of key staff over the last 12 months. Last weekend, it was spotted that Perfect Dark's game director, Dan Neuberger, had left the studio after nearly 4 years. Perfect Dark itself is not expected anytime soon and lacks any kind of release date. Now, LinkedIn investigations have unearthed more than 30 other departures since the start of 2021. This includes the game's design director, lead level designer, principal level designer, and principal world builder, lead systems designer, technical director, director of narrative, and narrative lead, VGC spotted. Perhaps unsurprisingly, the list of departures has reportedly affected project momentum, staff said. Reasons for departures include the project's already slow progress and lack of creative freedom under the studio's bosses. The initiative boss Daryl Gallagher said in a statement to VGC, quote, it's no small task to build a studio and reinvent a beloved franchise. In creating the initiative, we set out to leverage co-development partnerships to achieve our ambitions, and we're really excited about all the progress we're seeing with our relationship with Crystal Dynamics. In this journey, it's not uncommon for there to be staffing changes, especially during a time of global upheaval over the last 2 years, and there's plenty more work in front of us to deliver a fantastic Perfect Dark experience to our players. We wish all our former colleagues the very best, and I'm confident in the team that we have in place, the new talent joining, and we can't wait to share more with fans, end quote. Many of the studio's departures occurred last summer, which sheds new light on Microsoft's late September announcement it had roped in Tomb Raider and Marvel's Avengers studio Crystal Dynamics to aid with development.
I think this is the first true, off the top of my head, you may correct me, because you have a better memory of me sometimes. L for Phil Spencer. I think this is his first real L when it comes to this, because at the end of the day, when it comes to the studios, this is their first one they've properly created. The other ones they've just gone out and bought. We have money. We have money. Them. Bye.
You make games. We need games.
We make games. Let's come together. How much do you want it for? Type of thing. And so yeah. So the conversation that you and me were talking about was like, obviously everyone knows about my background and everything like that. I am trying to get into video game development. I've been in college for the last 4 years, learning about video game development. I'll say this right now: video game development is fucking hard. and the worst thing is even more, on which I'm seeing even more and more and more and more talk about with a teacher or one of my teachers, who I have a good conversation where we have multiple different conversations, but he's brought this up multiple times. There is a severe lack of staff in any type of sector, in all sectors, should I say, basically, of video game development. There's a massive shortage of senior roles. Not senior, rephrase that. Not senior roles, senior staff. There's not enough out there. And everyone's fighting and biting for whatever they can get a hold of, and there's not enough out there. For me, it's going to be just a challenge for me, just because I'm literally going in from the bottom of the pile. Basically, my first job will be literally probably the bottom of the pile, unless I get incredibly lucky. Please be lucky. So initiatives like when we talked about this, I think last week or whatever. the director leaving, like I said, I was thinking that's passive. Like a director does not leave halfway through the game's life
Yeah,
cycle.
like
That means
you think
the game
about
is
all the games we've seen that happen to, and it's like, oh, Anthem, oh, Mass Effect Andromeda. Like, like it's never usually a great sign.
Yeah, because the game director, they are the main person. Basically, they're the main vision of the game. Think Corey Barlog when it came to God of War, when the soft reboot of God of War happened. He was front and face and center for everybody to see, and it was his vision carrying it on and everything. And obviously, we got God of War was incredibly successful and fantastic, and it was an amazing game. When you see the director leaving, that is massively worrying. So, like, to see that the studio that they're trying to create into the first ever quadruple A studio, that's a sentence that's completely bit them right in the ass. Them coming out and saying that.
Yep. Yeah, it's creating a studio is hard, and like Microsoft, I don't know. Like, I was on my Xbox and me back when the initiative was first announced. And it was, I don't know, I feel like I kind of took a piss a bit. Whereas, like, we're going to create a mega studio of, like, quadruple A. And I was just like, you can't just will that into existence. Like, you know what I mean? Like, there are certain things you can't just wish into existence to happen, you know?
Yeah.
Like, and I feel like that was one of them. And like, I always wish the initiative well. I want them to make a good game. I want everybody to make good games. That'd be great. Like, imagine if we didn't need game reviewers because everything was great all the time. I never saw it ending well, and it doesn't seem like it has because, and you know what? It is an L for Phil Spencer. Like, I think you're right. I think this is it's not a major loss. Like, but I feel like it was probably inevitable. But I like the way Microsoft responded by going, hey, Crystal Dynamics, help. Like, you are a studio that makes fantastic games and the Avengers. Please come and help us make this perfect dark game because you are very talented at what you do.
I foresee Microsoft buying Crystal Dynamics.
That would be cool.
I think they'll form it. They'll fuse it together with Initiative, and like they'll buy it off Square Enix.
Crystal Dynamics is is a fucking amazing development studio. That would be cool. But anyway, like, I mean, good for Microsoft. Consolidation isn't a we've had this discussion. Yeah, like the talent pipeline, it makes me remember. I used to see this pop up on Twitter a lot pre-pandemic. And I guess I still see it now. It's that whole, like, the job advert wants an entry level such and such. Like, it's someone like getting in on the bottom of like a department in video games, and it calls for like X amount of years of experience. And it's like, where am I going to get the years of experience from? If I can't even get an entry level job. And I feel like what's happened to the initiative is a huge, like, magnifying. Like, it's a big part of that. Like, it's a big showing of what I think a lot of studios might be going through, of chickens have come home to roost. You don't have people with the experience because you've basically been hiring the same people over and over again for jobs. And now all of a sudden there's not enough people ready to step into senior roles because you haven't created that talent pipeline properly.
Yeah.
And that's going to be a big problem going forward because people are realizing, like, the pandemic, for everything terrible it did a lot of things, like, to society that were terrible, obviously, but it's made a lot of people realize that in terms of their careers or their jobs, they can do better.
That's the thing about it. I said a while back, I asked the question, I threw the question out there. Do we think there will be another video game crash? And I think after we'd spoken everything like that, we both basically agreed, said, no.
Probably not.
Probably not, because of how much money is in there. I don't think there's going to be a video game crash, but I think there's going to be a quote-unquote staff shortage crash, which I think we're already starting to see in certain type of elements. Because at the end of the day, like, I'm literally fighting for scraps when it comes to just applying for jobs for my entry level, for my skill level. And when I throw my hat into it, I can guarantee there's probably 50 other applicants going in there.
Yeah.
I'm literally, and that's the odds of me having a good potentially even getting there, getting even an interview is slim to none. Not because I haven't got the talent or anything like that. It's just they've thrown in so many things, and it just all depends when they see my CV type of thing.
Yeah.
And see it all, and it's and it's really demoralizing. So basically, you're getting entry levels who are eventually going to hit a wall and go, "I'm not getting into what I want. I have to find a job somewhere else. I have to find a job doing something else." And they're going to leave the industry and go into something else.
Different industries who don't have such a problem with progression.
Yeah.
And that is the best case scenario of why people might be leaving the industry, because as we've talked about so many times, and we'll talk about very shortly, there are a lot of other reasons why people will burn out of this industry very quickly.
Yeah.
The games industry has had a problem for a long time, and it's very much of their own making. And we're starting to see those problems cause actual problems for the studios and the companies that make the video games. And this is one of them, I think. Like, everybody left. I don't know why. I'm sure we'll find out soon. Not, everybody. I say everybody like in air quotes. Like, shitloads of higher-ups left for some unknown reason that we'll find out about. And there's no one to step up in the studio to take the place of the... Like, that's how it should work. Like, if your lead level designer leaves the studio, there should be somebody who is working there on level design already who is able to step up into that lead role, and then there should be somebody behind them who's being mentored who can step up into that senior role, and then there should be someone behind them who's being mentored who's a junior to step up in. You know what I mean? And imagine if there was just a path.
Yeah.
Or a talent pipeline, like, so that these things can happen, and then you wouldn't have the almost paradoxical people can't get into the industry because too many people are trying to apply for too few entry level jobs, coupled with we don't have enough people to fill senior roles because there's not enough people who are able to step into those roles. Like, there's a logjam at both ends.
Mm-hmm. And then we'll talk about another story, which we'll get into, where there are people who are creating studios who do not have the experience to even run a goddamn studio and their staff because they aren't seniors. They may have a role of a quote-unquote senior, but does not mean they are seniors. And it's just a whole combination of, like, the chickens are truly going to come home to roost when it comes to the industry, when it comes to shortage. And I think and because of this, we're going to be seeing more games that are going to come out that are going to be broken, incredibly lackluster, or we're going to be seeing more and more and more delays because they need time, because they can't. Because if they crunch the staff, they're going to get bad publicity because of that. Because it'll eventually come out that they're crunching the staff so they can get the game out in time, and the whole shebang. So and everything else, and it's just like, and then they're going to be delaying it, so they make sure that does not happen.
If they can afford it.
If they can afford that as well. And then we get to the proper thing of we want you to support the games because they truly will hopefully keep their jobs then, unlike other games we've talked about already.
We talked about other games today. Yes. Let's move on. Shall we move on? That's weird. That's weird. No, my PlayStation light's not on. Oh, that's weird. I must have forgot to turn it on. Sony acknowledges new harassment accusations, still calls for case to be dismissed. This is from Marie De Lissandri over at gamesindustry.biz. That was a lie. I didn't turn it on purpose. Who writes, Sony has acknowledged the latest wave of plaintiffs who joined a gender discrimination lawsuit against PlayStation, saying it takes the accusations, quote, seriously, end quote. Last week, 8 women described workplace misconduct across multiple US-based PlayStation offices and joined a class action lawsuit originally filed in November 2021. Sony asked in February for the lawsuit to be dismissed due to a lack of evidence, with its lawyers now saying that, quote, SIE takes the substance of the newly submitted declarations seriously, end quote. The company is still calling for the lawsuit to be dismissed, though, with the filing further reading, quote, although most are by former employees who no longer work at SIE, SIE either has addressed or will address the issues raised in them in due course, as SIE values its female employees and takes proactive steps to ensure they have every opportunity to thrive and be heard. But these new declarations say nothing about whether the operative complaint in this case contains sufficient facts to support the sweeping claims the plaintiff has alleged, end quote. A hearing will take place in April for Sony to plead its case for dismissal.
So you accept there is discrimination in your company, but you still want to get dismissed, to get the case dismissed.
We're taking it very seriously, but it didn't happen. But we're taking it very seriously, but it definitely didn't happen. But we're taking steps to ensure that everybody, that we, address the complaints in the lawsuit. But none of it actually happened.
It's like if I... No, I'm not going to go over that joke.
Okay.
I ain't gonna.
That's
No,
good.
I'll just think yeah, I'll just think when I'm thinking in my brain, I think, no, that'll go down the wrong rabbit hole. Yeah, it's like I don't get Sony. I really don't. They acknowledge it, but then
it didn't happen.
They are fighting to get it bloody dismissed and saying it's not happening. It makes Sony, you're breaking my brain today. And we've already talked about some crazy ass bloody
their original
stories already.
You gotta remember their original defense, and I'm paraphrasing here. This is not the direct quote of the defense.
Yeah.
Their original defense was you can't prove it, but also like everything, like the things that you described are just normal operating procedure at Sony, which I had a problem with, where I was doing that thing where I was like, those two statements are almost in conflict with each other.
And they're still in conflict with themselves.
And now it seems like the statement that they're putting out is in conflict with itself. Whereas they're trying to do the normal PR thing of, we hear you and we're going to fix it, but they're also digging their heels in and saying, but also it didn't happen, we're going to get rid of this lawsuit. Now, from a legal standpoint, I mean, they're a massive corporation versus 9 women. Like they're probably going to win. Like, whether that means they're in the right or not, like you and I, and I'm looking at the next the next news story and thinking like, hey, it's foreshadowing, right? You and I know that, and we've talked about this for 2 years almost, since Ubisoft, since Rockstar. This is a systemic industry problem. Like, whatever individual company comes up in terms of whatever kind of shit goes on in their workplace, like, we know everybody's doing it. We know everybody's done it or doing it at some point. So, like, for PlayStation to come out and go, well, yeah, but it doesn't have the sufficient facts. It's like, okay, but the facts are, like, this is happening. Like, these women have said these things have happened, so they've happened, as far as I'm concerned. Like, I think there's a statistic, and I don't have the statistic to mind, but it's something like women will lie about this kind of thing 4% of the time, which means that 96% of the time they're not lying and they're correct, which is where the statement, you believe women when they talk about this stuff actually comes from. Like, this... What? Like, this is the Activision Blizzard playbook. Like, what? Why?
Yep.
Why? That's it. That's what I got. That's where I'm going. Why, Sony? But then it's like, well, you're a corporation defending your own self-interests. I can't really be mad at you for operating the way you need to operate to survive in this world. It'd be like getting mad at a bear for mauling me if I poked it with a stick. It's just the bear being a bear.
Do something! Do something!
Come on!
It did something!
Juggle some balls or something. No. Like, yeah, it's like, no, like, I don't want that statement to be taken out of context. Like, I am mad at Sony, like, because gender discrimination.
It's disgusting. It should not happen. But sadly, it does. And it's been happening for decades.
It'd be
in
great if
industry,
one
in
day.
all industries.
Yeah, absolutely. It'd be great if one day, like, a company like got embroiled in this, like some employees like came out and like sued a company for gender discrimination, and the company just went, you know what? Let's work together to fix. We throw our hands up and say that we fucked up. Let's just work together to fix this. But it's never gonna happen. Just be nice one day if someone did that. Like,
Well, I think people have tried it, but because their article or their statement is so just a wildfire of crap, we don't believe it.
well,
And then we're proven right later on when
Yeah.
when you hear they've done fuck all.
that's
So you're
the
just
point.
like,
That is the point. Like the words then need to be followed up with action, which doesn't generally happen. Like I look at like Ubisoft said they were going to definitely fix all of their shit, and then like and everyone kind of went, "We'll see," and then we saw.
like the only ones off the top of my head, and they've still got a lot of work to go to be better. I just want to state this when I say these ones. But Riot Games, like they are shown they are trying to change. There's still a lot of shit to get sorted at that company, but they are. When we last spoke about them, it wasn't. We did say this is progress. We can't deny that. Needs to be faster progress, no doubt about that, but it still is some progress. It'd be worse if there was no progress, and then we'll be just completely up in arms and going, "What the fudge have you been doing? You've been trying to fight the lawsuit that you're going to lose, which you did lose, you stupid motherfuckers." Type of thing.
That was a great day.
And the other one is off the top of my head is Rockstar. Rockstar had a terrible thing of crunch, but apparently they have sorted a lot of it out. There's going to be an article next week.
Before this podcast goes live, it's Jason Schreier coming at you live from Bloomberg with the inside scoop of Rockstar. And Moody's just going to be like, just fucking kill me. Just fucking end my career.
Something like that, yeah. But no, yeah. Like,
it's like we were talking about in the first half of the podcast. It's like, not like if companies, and it's not about words. Like a company can release a statement saying whatever it wants, and I'm going to read that statement and react to that statement on this podcast. It's the actions that I'm interested in. It's what they actually do.
Yeah.
Like, and like if a company does things that are good in response to gender discrimination in this case, good. I will say, hey, you're on the right track. Hey, you're doing the right things. I mean, it doesn't excuse the things you did before, but at least you're making improvements and progress, and we will celebrate improvements and progress on this show. We rarely do it because it rarely happens, but that's a different conversation. Like,
that's not our fault.
What'll happen is, because we saw this happen. Last November, the lawsuit got filed. You and I both said, more's going to come. Because that's how this works. More came. Sony have dug their heels in. We know where this is going to go next. We've seen this story. We've been to this dance. And like whatever Sony's going to say after the next article or the next group of women join the lawsuit or the next group of people from a marginalized community join the lawsuit or speak out to a journalist, and Sony maybe turn around at that point and say, oh, well, shit, we're going to put some measures in place to fix this. I'm not going to believe you because this is now the third time you've turned around and basically went, nah, didn't happen, mate. Don't know what you're talking about. When someone shows you who they are, believe them the first time. It's good advice. Trust.
Sony is showing us who they are.
Sure did. Right. Okay. Next story.
If you want, let's go.
If you want. Do I want? That's the question. 2 reports paint a troubling picture of workplace abuses at acclaimed indie studios. This is from Andy Chalk over at PC Gamer. He writes, People Maker Games investigation into 3 noted indie studios, Mountains, creators of Florence, Fulbright, creators of Gone Home and Tacoma, and Funamina, creators of Watham. that included interviews with 24 employees revealed troubling allegations about high-level toxicity at all three of them. Mountain's founder, Ken Wong, for instance, is described as being, quote, an emotionally abusive, end quote, manager who constantly tore down the work of his employees, leaving them doubting their own expertise and abilities. One employee said, quote, this wasn't someone I didn't get along with. This wasn't a bad job. It was, I think, a very cruel person in a position of power who liked to make people feel bad to make themselves feel better. Himself feel better. End quote. The situation at Mountains was bad enough that in 2020 the studio implemented a policy that allowed any employee to decline a one-on-one interaction with Ken if they felt he was out of line, and actually came up with a safe word, quote, pause, end quote, that would end a conversation immediately. As another employee put it, quote, what kind of studio needs a safe word though, end quote. Similar allegations were leveled against Funimina founder Robin Hunique, I think. Also described as emotionally abusive and who regularly used personal information about workers at the studio, quote, in a way that was either humiliating or entirely unprofessional, end quote, according to former employees. Allegations about the third studio in the report, Tacoma developer Fulbright, actually came to light in 2021 and resulted in studio co-founder Steve Gaynor stepping down from his role as creative lead and manager. But employees say that the problems at the studio and Gaynor's step down didn't come to light until months later because Fulbright failed to make a promised statement about what had happened. One common factor in all three cases is Annapurna Interactive, the acclaimed indie publisher of games from all three studios. Employees told People Make Games that Annapurna failed to address their complaints and instead appeared more concerned with keeping development on track. One former Fulbright employee said, quote, Annapurna sat down in one-on-ones with each of us, and I was expecting them to ask me questions along the lines of, what were your interactions with Steve like? I was expecting it to be them feeling out what the situation was and seeing what impact he'd had on the team. It was very different from that. Instead, they just asked about open roads and what we need to continue the project, but without asking about the situation itself, end quote. The People Make Games report acknowledges the publishers have limited power over developers, however, because it holds no ownership stake in them and thus cannot force founders or managers to step down or resign. But that rings hollow for some, especially after Annapurna failed to share or respond to the Fulbright statement. One employee said, quote, I always felt ashamed of them for not supporting us, end quote. A separate report by VentureBeat reveals similar problems at Ori developer Moon Studios. Ori and the Blind Forest and its sequel Ori and the Will of the Wisps are both acclaimed 2D platformers, but Moon Studios is described in the report as an, quote, oppressive, end quote, place to work. And again, responsibility is laid primarily at the feet of founders Thomas Mailer and Gennady Korol, who employees say are overly critical and regularly unprofessional and offensive. One developer said that incidents seem like, quote, small things, end quote, in isolation, but cumulatively it takes a real toll. The employee went on to say, quote, I can say that for myself personally, I was properly messed up after we finished. I've never been depressed until that moment. I lost my passion for my job because they drummed it out of me, end quote. What I will also say is there was a second news article, which I'm not going to read in full, which is kind of tied to this news article. It's from The Gamer, and the headline is Microsoft reportedly refused to work with Ori developer due to toxic workplace allegations. And the heart of the article is, after this VentureBeat article came out about Moon Studios, Jeff Grubb was on a podcast and said that his sources told him that Microsoft was aware of the issues within Moon Studios and decided not to publish its next game after Ori and the Will of the Wisps. Summarized it.
People don't realize being an asshole can really hurt a person. Being an absolute douchebag can really knock someone for a loop. Being just a prick. And these things can be things that can literally suck the energy and enthusiasm out of a person for being in video games. And this is also another reason, which we've already spoken about already, of why we are losing people out of this video game industry, because they've just had deplorable people being absolute jackasses. To hear that where they put in place a safe word on one of them. When I watched that video, I was like, what the hell? Which, shout out to People Make Games. The video is
shout
incredible.
out to People Make Games. They're an incredible YouTube channel we've referenced multiple times on this podcast at this point.
Yeah. Well, the video is absolutely amazing. Like, really, they did an incredible job. Shame on Annapurna Like seriously, shame on Annapurna. That for one situation, you don't do something, and then another situation you do something, and and you just go backward and forward, and it's just like clearly showing that all you cared about was just we need to get this game out because we're putting obviously money into it, and we need to get the game out, and it just shows that you had lack of interest of
The people.
of the people, and you just cared about the higher up, the people of the employees, the main people who were the game directors, basically. We'll just say that of the games, the people of the visions, and that's what you gave a. That's all you give a game give a damn about. And it's just deplorable to see this, and like, I hate seeing this. And then you go to and then obviously I read the Venture Beat about Moon Studio, and I'm just like. And they're like, just like it proves like I know a lot of people may think like it's only in the AAA studio space. No, it's not.
No.
It really is not. Bullying in any is rampant in any sector of the video game industry.
Yeah.
And it's disgusting to see.
Yeah. When we say it's systemic, like you need to know that I feel like people sometimes misunderstand what systemic means. It means it's prevalent throughout the entire industry. Not just a couple of studios are doing it. This is everywhere.
Yeah.
Which is something was starting to come out.
Yeah. It's like when I see this, like I just go like I'm going through something right now, which I won't get into, which has knocked my confidence like crazy when it comes to me being at college. And I'm just like, and just what's happened is it sucked my energy out and enjoyment of even being associated with my college. Like, and I hate that. I absolutely hate and despise that. And to see this happening with people who are already in the industry, who are literally getting the crap kicked out of them, the passion bashed out of them, and going into depression and all other things, it's just like something no one deserves to have to go through. And to see the lack of sympathy that anyone gets is absolutely deplorable. Like, you just don't get any help whatsoever in the industry. And I'll go back to it once again. The video game industry seriously needs to unionize to try and help people with their health, with their mental health, and the whole shebang. No one deserves to be treated like a pile of crap or made to feel like they're unwelcome or threatened to even go somewhere. And it's just, I hate it, man. I'm hating seeing this in the industry I want to get into. But at the same time, I'll admit right now, I've gone through 4 years of working, doing in college and everything like that, and I've worked my ass off to get the degrees I want to get, and I'm very proud of what I've done. So reading all of this and hearing all the things that we've spoken about for 2 years, Jamie, has made me go, is it all fucking worth it? Is it actually really worth all of this?
I've broken another one. God damn.
No,
it's a joke.
It's not you. I know.
It's not. It's not you. It's me. I know. I'm getting broken up with.
Like, I've applied for jobs that aren't in the video game industry, that do QA.
Yeah.
Thankfully, for QA, it's in various multiple different mediums, but at the same time, to see that I potentially will probably might not get a one in the industry I want to be in, it's just like, because why would I want to be in it? Why would I want to be in it? Like, my mental health is all over the place. Like, it's pile drive since January 2020, January 2021. And it just went down the shitter, and it's just and it hasn't even got any better. And
it can be insidious as well. Like, nobody like at a studio, and again, like, I don't know, I don't work in the video game industry. Like, it generally doesn't start out at the top level. Like, the stuff that you read about that makes you go, what the fuck? Like a safe word at a video game studio. Like, that employee was right. What kind of fucking video game studio has a safe word? Like,
that video game studio clearly watched How I Met Your Mother. I had to throw a joke in. I had to try and lighten a little bit.
Like, like, it doesn't start out at the top. It builds and builds and builds and builds and builds. Like, so, you know, like, this kind of behavior becomes normalized in studios, in publishers, just in general, like because it doesn't feel like it's just ramped up to nowhere. It's like, well, it's not like all of a sudden like, holy shit, like this guy, this is fucking mental. Like it starts out and then it gets a little bit more, and then a little bit more, and then a little bit more, and then a little bit more, etc., etc., etc. To you, and suddenly, like, you might look back over the last few years or like, whatever, and just go, "What the? Hang on a minute, we've got a fucking safe word. Like, what the hell's going on?" I do think, like, I am disappointed in Annapurna Interactive because if they've known the stuff is going on, like, sure they don't own any of the studios involved and can't directly fire like whoever is causing problems in these respective studios, but I feel like there should have been ways for Annapurna Interactive to support the people who are affected by this in some way. Like, if you see someone is in trouble or like is having a bad time, you don't just cross the street and walk away. And I feel like we should hold someone like Annapurna Interactive, who I'm on record as being like, I'm a huge fan of the work and the games that they put out.
Yeah.
Like, but
like
we
one
should
of their
hold
games
them.
was in our top 10 or top 20 last year, I think.
Yeah, easily. Like, yeah. Like we should hold them up and say, like, you could have done more to support the people who are currently suffering in this situation. But excuse me, I do think it's a good sign that we are talking about this as frequently and as often as we are, because as we both know, like, from the word go with whatever the first story about a toxic workplace was in the video game industry, we knew more was coming from multiple different studios. And the fact that is now just becoming a thing that we're just expecting it for every studio to have its stories and for its stories to get aired on a YouTube channel, on a website, I think it's a good thing, because I think not that the things have happened. That's obviously not what I'm talking about. The fact that we're talking about it is a good thing, because that's how we change things.
Yeah, there's no doubt about it. I hope. I do hope. Like,
Amy put her optimism cap on.
Yeah, we need to try and get some optimism, like, no doubt about it, because like people like don't realize how bad mental health can be, how deplorable it can be, and how much it can just suck the life out of you. It can be one of those things that's just like, oh, what are we gonna do, type of thing. What am I gonna do? Like, what you're gonna do? What are people with mental health? What are they gonna do? And it's just like, and people just paint it like it's thinking, oh, it's a your problem type of thing. Blah, 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 blah. I think it's not. It's not.
I'm gonna do what I always do, Moody. I want to play video games, drink hot chocolate, go on Twitch, try to get Ghost to fuck me, and that's how I just deal with this stuff. I feel like we both needed that.
We needed
not the
that.
fucking.
Yeah, thank you.
The joke. Or was it a joke?
Was it a joke, Amy?
Call me.
Find
Call
out
me
next
Ghost.
time on twitch.tv/wordsabougames.
No, like, so, like, yeah, it's like, change is never quick. Meaningful change is never quick. Meaningful change is never easy. But the way you get change is Foxes used to say it on when he was a part of the podcast. You know, pressure for change. Like, you have to keep pressure on to force change. Companies don't want to change. Companies want to do the same things they've been doing over and over again that makes them money. And we need to put the pressure on to make them, to force them to change for the better, for the people who make games.
Yeah.
You can have that one for free, Chris Pratt. Because that's the name of his YouTube channel, People Make Games.
Oh. My brain did not click that. I didn't put two and two together there. I put two and two together and got 10 instead.
Why is Amy jimming the camera like that? Shall we?
There was someone behind me who was hot.
Wait, is there a ghost behind me?
Yes.
Shall we move on?
Yes.
But a couple of quick ones. I'm actually just going to do these as tidbits. So I guess Future Amy, these aren't their own news stories anymore. They're tidbits. So the Itch.io bundle that we talked about last week, the Itch.io bundle for Ukraine, it raised $6.3 million from 449,632 contributors. Included over 1,000 games. Some fucking great games in there as well. I actually started digging through it, and I was like, holy shit. Wow. Look at what I own now.
Oh, have you put? I forgot. I haven't put anything in yet. Shit. I have to get that.
I believe it's over now.
Smeg.
But
I'm so sorry.
it's okay. Like I was like right in at the wire because it was like I haven't got any money. I haven't got any money. Shit. And then I did.
I got money.
I have money. Buy 1,000 video games. Literally. Jesus Christ. I just paused that sentence in my head. Like, I just bought 1,000 video games.
And some I bet you already owned.
Probably.
Yeah.
But that's all for a good cause. Next up, Humble's Stand with Ukraine bundle is out. It includes Back for Blood, Metro Exodus, Spyro. Let's have a look. What else have we got? Quantum Break, Slay the Spire, Next Machina, Endless Space 2, Kerbal Space Program, System Shock Enhanced Edition, Wargroove, all the Amnesia games, Sunset Overdrive, Max Payne 3, Fable Anniversary, and more. Costs a minimum of £30.
Is it Metro? Aren't you in Russia?
Yeah,
play a Russian?
Metro Exodus. You play a Russian and it's in Russia, but like, you know, a Russia that got nuked in the war, I guess. Yeah, now that you think about it, okay.
Yeah, I was literally thinking, okay,
I'm remembering the plot of Metro Exodus. So, I mean, there's monsters, so, you know.
Yeah. 120 games.
I'm sure humans are the real monsters. I never actually finished that game. Yeah, there's 120 games in it. 100% of the proceeds donated to support the humanitarian efforts currently taking place in Ukraine following Russia's devastating invasion of the country. Grab this bundle. Boom. Another 100 games. There's books as well, and like game books, TTRPGs, software. The proceeds will be distributed among Razum for Ukraine, International Rescue Committee, International Medical Corps, and Direct Relief. We like it when the games industry rallies around good causes.
This is when you see it good. This is where you see the good side of video games and all like that. But at the same time, you're just like, I wish it was support of like this as much as it does in other things.
Yeah, or that we just didn't need to do this in general. That'd be great. Fuck the war, fuck Putin. Next up, EA is not holding an EA Play around E3 this year. Fucking finally. Jesus, guys, you've been holding EA Plays for years with barely anything to talk about. And we've literally asked the question after every single one. What the fuck was the point in that? Like, this meeting could have been an email. So it's about time you finally realized it and decided not to do it. Like, I've seen the discourse of people saying, well, maybe this means E3 is dead. Like, no.
E3's been dead for years, don't worry, guys.
E3's been dead for years, but like EA Play was not the final nail in the coffin. Do you remember how bad EA Play has been?
Yeah. Like every time we watched it, we were just like, all right, let's get this hour, let's get the slow hour out the way.
Yeah, like what the fuck? Why are they here? They've clearly got nothing to talk about. This is they're showing fucking people drawing pictures for a Star Wars game. We're not going to play it for 6 years.
Yeah. I remember they brought Pele on that stage one time to talk about FIFA, and all it was like, we've put Pele in the game. Oh, great. Are you going to show anything about the game? No. Cool. This is just that. No, this at the end of the day is a good thing at the end of the day, because this is hopefully them coming to the realization we don't need to do one.
Yeah, every time, like you say, just for the sake of it.
Yeah, we could just do it as an email, or heck, we can literally just go, yo, Microsoft, yo, Sony, you want to show off our games? Why not? Let's come together and hug it out, type of thing. Who's got our market share? Sony, I believe you guys have got FIFA. Boom. Microsoft, you'll probably have but Sony will probably get Star Wars. I won't lie. I think Sony will try and whack that down.
You got it. Well, there's a lot of cooperation between Microsoft and EA.
Yeah, like that's it. I think it's just going to be a lot of things like that, and I think that hopefully that's what they've decided, and they've just realized, let's just throw it in on whatever Microsoft are going to do
Yeah.
around that time. We're guessing whatever Sony, if they want to do anything around that time or whatever. It's just like, yeah, it's a perfect little thing. Just let them do it.
Like, and I love E3 time. You can't really. It feels weird calling it E3 at this point, but
June time. We'll just say June time.
Like, I love the big reveals, and I love watching the conferences, and I love all of the different ones and stuff. But like, you know, there's a few publishers who sometimes they turn up just for the sake of turning up, and I'm just like, well, do we really need to do this? No, no. The answer is no, we didn't. So I'm glad EA have turned around and gone, hey, you know what? We don't need to do this. Does it mean that Star Wars Jedi Fallen Order sequel is not coming out this year? Yes, it does. I believe that game is not coming out this year, otherwise they would do an EA Play for it, because they would milk the shit out of that. It sold a lot.
I do see the logic you are using. Yeah, there's no doubt about that. But at the same time, I'm just like, EA probably is just thinking, like what I just said, it's cheaper just to get someone else just to do it.
Oh, I agree.
But just to say it, this is one of our most important games here. And we want you to put this alive to be one of the first games you show off big, boom, whole thing, or be one of the games you finish with, type of thing. And I can see it being that, but I do understand. I can see where you're coming from, and wouldn't be surprised if it is pushed till next year, though.
That's just where I'm at with that. It's just like I don't think it's coming out this year, personally.
Well, the thing is, like, the game Jedi Fallen Order, like I've said in the time, I enjoyed that game. I had a lot of fun with it, but the bugs did suck me out of the game. It did. There's no doubt about it. It was a very buggy game, and it was a game that you just think this game needed at least minimum of 4 more months, minimum. Maybe even 6 months. Yeah, it needs some severe polish, and just giving it that time I think you would have been talking about that game properly, where I could literally be saying, like, you were like, this is a great game, I've really enjoyed it. You were a lot more hyped on it compared to what I was. And I think I hope that my aim was, I'm hoping that if this has been pushed, that means the game's locked. They've print up and they're just they're gonna fine tune it and polish the crap out of it. If they do that, hell yeah, we could have finally, for me, an excellent 9 to 10 out of 10 Star Wars game, which we've been missing.
What are these numbers you keep talking about? You keep saying them, and I don't get it.
It's the first time I've said it this podcast.
I know, I'm just joking. Platinum Games aren't planning to scale back development of Babylon's Fall. Will continue to provide new content and make improvements based on player feedback.
I bet that feedback was very interesting. I bet that was a long-ass piece of feedback. Good luck, Platinum Games.
Jesus.
Platinum Games is a really weird company to me.
I know, they are. Even to me, as someone who is a fan of some of their work, they're a really weird company to me too.
Yeah, they're completely insane. They threw out.
You'll get like fucking fucking Bayonetta. But then they'll also do like Legends of Korra, which was just awful. Like they'll somehow and then the next game they make will be amazing, and it's just like, what's going on? What's going on over there?
I don't understand that type of game development they do. It just makes me think. Every time I see these them throw a game out, I'm literally like, how are they still in business? I don't mean that in a bad way. I want everyone to survive and everything like that, but their trajectory is like,
they make some great games.
It's
some
up and
great
down
games
all the time.
Babylon's Fall.
It was a game, apparently.
It was a game that launched in 2022, and I bet we both forget about it by the end of the year.
Oh, hell yeah.
Next up, Supermassive Games has announced The Quarry, which is not part of its Dark Pictures anthology, coming in June.
Spiritual successor to Until Dawn, the comment that they've basically said. I saw this and I was thinking, I loved Until Dawn.
I loved Until Dawn too.
Yeah, and I was just like, the only thing I'll say this Supermassive, June? Put this on Halloween!
Well, the Dark Pictures anthology will be coming out on Halloween.
Fuck that game. Apparently, the last one was apparently not that bad. We just didn't get around to playing it.
We had some logistical problems getting around to playing the game because we were going to play it together. We'll play this together, though.
Well, eventually we'll.
No. We're gonna do it.
I thought you meant the next story. Well, it's
no.
The Quarry, is it?
Well, the Quarry. I'm pretty sure it's gonna have multiplayer.
Oh, that's multiplayer. Hell yes, Amy. We are all on this. All aboard the Quarry train.
Choo choo. Shit, everybody's dying.
Oh no.
Oh shit. Next up, Elden Ring passes 12 million copies sold and has been described as the start of, quote, a new franchise, end quote.
Say what you want to say. I know what you want to say.
What do I want to say?
You want to say the thing I think what you tweeted or said last night?
Uh-oh.
Good. Now maybe pay your staff.
Oh, shit. I never said that. Someone else said that. I don't think that was
Did
me.
they?
No, I don't think I've...
Whatever.
No.
Either way, yes. Congratulations, Elden
Oh,
Ring.
I did say that. I remember now. Yeah, maybe you can pay your staff now. Yeah, it's on the stream.
Yeah.
Sorry,
Yeah,
I got sidetracked by all of the...
Flirting with the ghosts.
Yeah.
Yes. Congratulations, like I say, to the team, but get your shit together.
Get your shit together. You did well. Now, I don't want to see you fucking Elden Ring 2 anytime soon. Pay your staff.
And hire some diversity.
Hire, more of everybody. And don't crunch. And, yeah, we're good. Speaking of sales, Triangle Strategy sold 800,000 units globally in 2 weeks. Pretty good for a niche JRPG.
Yeah.
Called, I want to remind it, called Triangle Strategy.
On one platform, yeah, as well. Well done to them. I've played a little bit of the game and I've enjoyed it, but I think I'm planning to return both Horizon and that back to Boomerang, and then I'm just going to try and crack on with some of the smaller games.
Yeah, Triangle Strategy is a very, very slow burn. I played the demo last month. I played a little bit tonight of the actual full game. I played the demo last month, and it's wow. In 3.5 hours that it took me to do the demo, it's you fight 3 combats. There's no random combats. And I was I'm into it because I'm into the characters and the story, and I'm digging what they're building towards. But yeah, it's you gotta be prepared for that slow burn. The plot hasn't even really kicked off yet. And I'm on chapter 4.
Oh, smeg. Jesus.
It's all right then.
All right then. Yeah. And Horizon, I'm just I kind of wish I had a PlayStation 5.
I do. What does it burn you to know that I have both a PlayStation 5 and the game, and I'm playing Triangle Strategy? I put my Switch back. I thought it might have been here, and I could just be I'm playing Triangle Strategy.
Yeah. No, it doesn't burn me whatsoever.
That's good. Last tidbit: Summer Games Done Quick.
I know where you live. I can just go and get it.
That's true. Summer Games Done Quick is returning to an in-person event for the first time in 2 years. I'm happy about this. In terms of the event itself, because you know what? We're never going to get people to admit that COVID is still a thing at this point.
What's COVID?
Exactly. So, the crowd is a big part. I've watched the Games Done Quick stuff over the past couple of years. I really enjoy speedrunning in general. Not doing it, I can't do it, but I can watch people do it, and it's felt a bit dry because it's just a normal stream. Basically, the crowd kind of makes it as a great experience. Some of my favorite speedruns from Games Done Quick events are, but in part because of the crowd being there.
That's fair. I understand that.
And that's it. Tidbits.
Sadly, we're just getting to the part of life where it's just I can appreciate where everyone says we have to live with it and everything like that. That is true.
Well, if we want to go down, living with COVID doesn't mean abandoning. We live with the idea that we could get into high-speed car accidents by mitigating those things with airbags and seat belts and safety features. You don't live with something by abandoning all of the things that help you live with it.
Yeah. At the end of the day, it's just I will continue to use the precautions I feel safe with doing it.
Absolutely.
Like that.
I was wearing my mask through. Like I said, I went to see Churches on last week, and I wore my mask through the entire thing. I took it down and took a sip of water and put the mask back up. Like,
Well, I bet you melted a little bit.
I tested before, I tested after. I was fine, Moody. I wear a mask like up to 10 hours a day. Not including traveling to and from my day job. Like, I'm fine.
You do.
I'm perfectly comfortable wearing a mask because you know what? It's not that difficult.
It is not. There's no doubt about it.
But it's time for games out this week. It's me. I'm still not used to it. On March 22nd.
So what are you waiting for?
I'm waiting for you. No, shit, that's me. On March 22nd, Rune Factory 5 is launching on Nintendo Switch as the newest ranger for the peacekeeping organization Seed. Protect the frontier town by rounding up rowdy monsters with your official Seed-issued spell seal. When not on a mission, work with the people of Rigbarth to help the town flourish through farming festivals and friendship. God. And then on March 24th, we have A Memoir Blue launching on PlayStation, Xbox, Game Pass, Switch, and PC. A song from years ago triggers a flood of memories for champion swimmer Miriam. Embark on an evocative journey through her turbulent childhood and the complicated relationship she shared with her devoted mother. Also on March 24th, Norco launches on PC and also on Game Pass for PC. Norco is a southern gothic point-and-click narrative adventure that immerses the player in the sinking suburbs and verdant industrial swamps of a distorted South Louisiana. It was also the Tribeca Game Festival Awards winner last year at E3. On March 25th, Kirby and the Forgotten Land comes to Nintendo Switch. One day, a strange vortex appears in the sky over planet Popstar, sucking in everything around it, including Kirby. Waking up in an abandoned world where civilization and nature have become one, Kirby finds the Waddle Dees have been captured by a gang known as the Beast Pack. Now with his mystical new friend Elfalin by his side, Kirby sets off on a grand adventure to rescue the Waddle Dees and return home. Can't wait for mouthful mode. Also coming out on March 25th, Ghostwire Tokyo hits PlayStation and PC. Tokyo's population has vanished and deadly supernatural forces prowl the streets. Use an arsenal of elemental abilities to unravel the truth behind the disappearances and save Tokyo. Also, on March 25th, Tiny Tina's Wonderlands comes to PlayStation, Xbox, and PC. Embark on an epic adventure full of whimsy, wonder, and high-powered weaponry. Roll your own multi-class hero, then not in that order. Shoot, loot, slash, and cast on a quest to stop the Dragon Lord. And lastly, on March 25th, Fragments of a Mind comes to PC. Explore a surreal world of Cassandra's twisted dreams. Help her recover lost memories and reveal a dark secret hidden deep in her mind. Run, fight, and solve puzzles to reach your goal. And those are the games coming out this week. There are too many for me to say I'm really looking forward to this one because basically all of them. Thanks, games industry. I'm going to die.
I completely forgot that Tiny Tina's Wonderland was coming up.
Yeah, so did I. Because Kirby's coming out that day. Ghostwire Tokyo's coming out that day. Norco's coming out the day before. Memoir Blue's coming out the day before. Tiny Tina's Wonderland is just down here somewhere. Like, buried under all these other games that I'm excited for. Like, and I feel kind of bad for it. But it's time for OpenCritic head-to-head to close out this podcast. Moody, this is the game, as you know, I don't know why I'm explaining it to you. This is the game we play every single week where we try to guess the OpenCritic average of one upcoming game. Whoever guesses closest to the score at the time of recording gets 1 point. If you manage to guess the score correctly, you get 2 points. Last week, we tried to guess the OpenCritic average of Stranger of Paradise Final Fantasy Origin. I guessed it would get an 83. Moody guessed it would get an 84. And at the time of recording, Stranger of Paradise Final Fantasy Origin has an OpenCritic average of 73, which puts the current scores at Amy 6, Moody 3. We did not know where this was going to end up. Like, it was just a shot in the dark from both of us.
Yeah. I have a question.
What's the question?
Well, there's 3 big games coming out next week. I don't understand why we just can't vote the scores for all 3.
Just because you're 3 points behind.
I don't give a flying hoot about that. It's just the 3 games.
I just do it one
That's
a week.
all.
We've had this. We have this discussion every year, and I do it once. I just do one a week because one, I can only be bothered to think of one score.
At least you're honest. Can't ask
Yeah, and you know the reasons I've said in the past. This week, it's Kirby and the Forgotten Land.
I'm not gonna lie, I'm kind of feeling the same when it came to Final Fantasy Origins last week for this game, because even though Kirby in the Nintendo space is a beloved franchise, looking at the games I've looked at, it never hits high really when it comes to its review scores.
Yeah, I get that. I mean, it's Kirby, right? It's not, and this is no disrespect to Kirby or the people who love Kirby. It's not a top tier Nintendo franchise.
But that whole eye, the gameplay of it, what I saw, looks
great.
Looks great.
This really could be Kirby's breakout moment.
That's what I'm thinking. I was thinking, could this be Kirby's breakout moment? Just like Animal
Crossing.
Animal Crossing was 2 years ago. I think that was 2 years
I don't think anything's gonna ever, like, Animal Crossing just happened to come out right when everybody needed something to distract themselves with. I don't think anything's ever gonna have that cultural impact anymore.
No doubt about that. I completely agree. But we'll at least get to the good enough score where people are like, this was a really good game and it deserves a lot of love and attention and congratulations, Nintendo type of thing.
Yeah.
Or is it just going to be a low 80s, a low 80 to some mid 70 type of game where you're just going, it was a game.
It happened.
People enjoyed it. People were like, meh, type of thing.
Like,
you know?
if a game comes out and it's like average fucking review scores is in the 80s and people are like, meh, something seriously broken with our entire society.
Have you not realized that already? People complain when the Horizon didn't get 10 out of 10 for a lot of people. And when they got high scores saying, wait, why is the same score as the first one when you're all saying it's better than the first one? It makes no logical sense.
Your face makes no logical sense. I fucking hate review scores for this exact reason.
There's no doubt about it. But no. Oh. Do I do it?
Do it. Fuck it. Do it.
Idiot.
Do it. Should have seen that coming. Well, you'd be happy to know mine isn't anywhere near that. Oops. I almost put 99.
99. That's a cracking score.
Oh, yeah, cracking score.
99. Better than Elden Ring.
Better than everything that's ever happened in video games. I'm going 80. Like, I was always going to go 80. Like, I don't know. I don't know where I land on this. But
yeah.
I feel like I've gone too low. But that's just my. But like, I have to try and, like, I have to try and like decouple my own personal hype when we do things like Fantasy Critic and OpenCritic head to head, because it's like there's my personal hype, and it leads me astray so often. And it's like I have to think like a game critic, and then I have an existential crisis and hide under my desk for a few hours, and then when I'm done with that existential crisis, then I'm ready to think of an average review score.
I have this feeling it's going to land somewhere in the middle.
Like Phil. And that's going to do it for episode 297 of the Words About Games podcast. Thank you very much for watching if you've been watching. Thank you very much for listening if you've been listening. Thank you for joining us in general. We love that you're here. It's awesome. Thank you, Moody, for being here.
Continue. I've got something I want to say there.
I was done. How about that weather? Am I right? It's nice and sunny today. Wasn't very warm though, which is it's a sweet spot that I find. Like, I like it when it's sunny, but also not hot. Shit, you still need me to fill in. Like, do you like my Totoro?
A little bit, yeah.
Do you like my Totoro? It's just here above my head. I got the smiling one. There was like 4 different options in the glass cabinet, and I chose the one that looks like the most psychotic. I think it pairs quite nicely with the grumpy octoplush, which I used to change the mood every now and again of, but like recently, I think for the last month and a half, it's literally just been grumpy, like the entire time. Also, I didn't forget to turn the PlayStation light off. I chose not to because of the story that we were reading, and I made a bit out of it. Jesus Christ, Moody, what the fuck are you doing?
Oh, fucking hell. I'm not finding what I want to say. Okay, so
Do I have
All
my
right,
Yankee
all right,
candle?
all right,
Are we good?
all right, I'm
Are we
ready.
good? I
I'm
don't
ready.
need to
I'm
pimp the
ready.
Yankee candle. All right, cool.
I'm ready. Okay.
Yep.
All right. Hard work pays off. Dreams come true.
I thought that was it, and I was like, I'm gonna kill you.
Bad times do not last. But good people will always be good people. Love yous all.
Peace
Shout out to
out.
Scott Hall. Peace out.
Peace out.